Hey guys, my name is Nancy and welcome back to Confessions of an Evolving Millennial, where we talk about healing, we talk about evolving, we talk about growing, we talk about navigating life with all its twists and turns, one layer at a time. And sometimes we're just flat out trying to figure it out. We don't pretend to have it all figured out here. And that's, I think, what makes the journey even more interesting. That's what makes it an adventure, because we're still figuring it out one step at a time and one day at a time. And thank you so much for joining me once again. Like you've just decided you want to continue hearing me yap. I am very grateful for that. I'm grateful for you. And today I want to talk about something really simple but very life-changing. At least for me it has been, and I've seen how it's also been to the people around me, the people in my life, and also other people that I know talk about gratitude so passionately. And yes, we're talking about gratitude today. Yeah, so let's dive right in. I think I'll start by saying that I remember a season in my life where I genuinely didn't understand how I was expected to be grateful. I just did not get it. I'm like, what do you mean? What is there to be grateful for? And I think particularly that season is because I felt like a lot of things were just falling apart. I felt like my identity was falling apart. I felt like my plans were falling apart. Friendships and relationships that were dear to my heart were falling apart. And so I just didn't see or feel like there was anything to be grateful for. And I actually remember one of my really good friends, at the time, she had just started her spiritual journey. So she was all about positivity and gratitude. And I remember just listening to her, but also just thinking, you don't get it. Thinking, how am I expected to be grateful in this particular situation? Because I felt like I was literally walking through a very dark forest with so many questions in my mind. And this particularly was right after the transition of me walking away from the marriage that I was in, that I didn't feel safe in. And I remember like the actual walking away, and I've told you guys before that it was actually running away. That actual thing happening, I felt so empowered. I felt, like I could do everything, like I felt courageous, I felt bold. But then when I got to this other side, and then now navigating the healing of whatever I had been through, I just remember it feeling like a really dark forest, where I was just like trying to just figure out where the direction of my life, where to go from here, how to transition into a completely different life, so to speak, that was not even in my plans, And during that time, I remember really struggling with the concept of gratitude. I just didn't understand how exactly I was expected to be grateful in that situation. But then I remember slowing down and realizing, wait a goddamn minute. I have so many things to be grateful for. And I started that practice with the smallest of things. Like I started saying, I'm grateful that I have such a strong supportive system, even in this mess. Like I was looking at the same situation, like the same chaos that I was going through, but then picking out things that I'm grateful for in that situation. And I remember being like, I'm so grateful that I managed to actually run away from that. Like, what would my life have turned out to be if I stayed in that situation? I remember just picking out even things from within the situation and just being like, I am grateful that when I told my mother about the situation I was in, she didn't start telling me things of, you have to vumilia, you have to persevere. That's what vumilia means. You have to persevere, you have to push. I am so grateful that my mom didn't tell me anything like that. I'm so grateful that actually my side of the family, no one actually told me things like that. I remember just picking out things that I'm grateful for. I remember also being grateful for our best couple who, when we talked to them about the things that had been happening, I remember they told me that Nancy, at the end of the day, you're the one who gets to make that decision because you're the one who's going to live with this person. And I remember they said, of course, they'd want for us to be able to continue living in that union and figuring things out. But then they told me at the end of the day, you get to decide because you're the one who's going to live with this person. We won't live with him. You're the one who's going to live with them. And I remember also just being so grateful that I had a best couple that didn't try to push me to any particular direction. They were very clear about, you get to decide what you want. And then even outside of that situation, I started looking for simple ways to be grateful. Like, oh, I'm grateful for I used to do morning walks even then, and I remember being so grateful that I had such a nice path to walk on for my morning walks. Being grateful for nature in general, like, because I'd do my walks in the morning, so I'd see the sunrise and I'd be like, oh, that's so beautiful. I'm grateful for this, for the opportunity to be able to enjoy such a beautiful sight. It just started with small tiny things. I remember also being grateful in times like when I'd really laugh and like just laugh until I have no breath. And I remember sometimes savoring those moments and just being like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that I can laugh this much until it actually hurts, especially because I was coming from a situation where I was feeling like there were so many days that had gone without that genuine laughter, because you're just navigating a lot of pain and uncertainty and a lot of confusion. So yeah, I remember just picking out small tiny things that I was grateful for, like days that I'd just be like, oh my God, I'm grateful that I have peace of mind. There's no one who's gaslighting me and manipulating me and trying to control me, and like just those small tiny things. And I remember that little habit started creating room for hope, so to speak. I remember starting to have some sense of hope. That's what gratitude did for me, and that's what gratitude continues to do for me even now. And yeah, I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for gratitude. I'm really grateful for gratitude. So one of the ways that gratitude has really helped to ground me is that, number one, gratitude really helps me to regulate my nervous system. Now, my nervous system has become better over the years. Like, I'm not as anxious as I used to be, but sometimes I do get like anxiety from time to time. And I feel like gratitude really helps me to regulate my system, my nervous system. Like when I have those moments and I just ground myself with gratitude, I can feel the shift literally in my nervous system. So number one, gratitude actually helps regulate your nervous system. The other thing that gratitude has helped me with is that it has helped me to shift my focus from lack to abundance. It's helped me actually have such a mindset of abundance, because I focus on what I have, not what I do not have. I focus on where I am right now and the beauty in that particular space or in that particular environment, and that has really helped me to have an abundance mindset. And the other thing is that gratitude brings you back into the present, where you're not living in the future, you're not living in the past, you're living in the now. And there's no better feeling than just knowing that you're living in the now. So you do your best here where you are, right here where you are. And I've just seen how that has really impacted how I even move in the world, like, because my focus is here and now. I don't give myself pressure to be somewhere that I am not. I focus on the achievements that I already have right now. So it kind of like grounds you into the present moment. It grounds you where your feet are. And the other thing that I feel gratitude has really, something that gratitude has done for me is that it has really softened my inner voice. Now, I used to have a really critical inner voice, very critical inner voice, and I can see how practicing gratitude has really helped me to have such a gentle inner voice. I'm so much kinder to myself. I'm so much more gracious to myself, because I'm not like trying to give myself pressure in any way, because I'm focusing on what I actually have, because I'm focusing on who I am. I'm focusing on where I am. I'm focusing on the beauty of here and now. And yeah, so gratitude has really helped me. That has really helped to soften my inner voice. And I think gratitude in general just has a unique way of turning what you already have into enough. Like where you are right now, it's okay to be where you are, because you're on a journey. And the important thing is that you're moving one step at a time, one day at a time. So now that we have established the importance of gratitude and what it actually does for you, and how important of a tool it is when navigating life, especially with its twists and turns, I think it's important to also talk about what are some of the tools that we can actually use to be able to have that habit, to be able to cultivate that habit of gratitude. For me, I'm going to share the tools that have worked for me, and I'd really love to hear in the comment section some gratitude tools that you've used that have helped you to be able to create that habit and also keep it going. For me, the first thing is actually my morning. I really value my mornings. I love my mornings. I'm a morning person. So like one of the things that I do every morning is I do sort of like a morning mindset check-in, whereby when I wake up, first thing in the morning when I wake up, before I do anything else, the minute I feel conscious, I take time to just be grateful for the day. Like just, it could be literally anything. It could be a random thing. You could say, I'm grateful that my bonnet did not fall off while I was asleep, or I'm grateful that the pillow held my neck securely through the night, or I'm grateful for the breath in my, like just anything. I'm grateful for the gift of life. I'm grateful that I am breathing, and even just take the time to breathe in and out and just feel that breath that you're grateful for. It could be literally anything, and it doesn't have to be long. It could be a few seconds or a few minutes where you just ground yourself to focus, like you tune your mind to focus on the things that you're grateful for right at the beginning of your day. And I've seen how it's just made such a personal difference in my life. And also I think it's important to make it very unique to you. It's very important to make it personal to you and your life and your environment. Like maybe if you're a parent and you have a young one and they didn't wake up throughout the night, you can be like, I'm grateful that I slept throughout the night because so and so slept also throughout the night. It just make it unique to who you are and your life and the stage of life that you're in. And I've just seen how much that really actually really sets me up for my day. Like I'm walking into the day with an attitude of gratitude. So that's the number one tool that I usually use. First thing in the morning, I try as much as possible when I wake up to just find things that I can be grateful for. Like maybe, for example, when I was sleeping, I was so tired, I wake up and I'm like, I'm grateful that I feel so well rested. It could be literally anything, but it really helps to rewire your brain in ways that I am yet to discover. I'm yet to study and research and learn. But yeah, that really works. The other thing that I personally use is a gratitude journal. And I know this is not for everyone because there are people who are not fans of writing. Personally, I love writing things down. And I have seen how it really helps me personally when I jot down, like before I sleep, I just jot down what I'm grateful for. And if you're tired, because there are days that I've gotten home and I'm like really, really tired, you can jot down even just one sentence. Like, I'm grateful that I really laughed today with my friend Charlie when we were catching up, just something very simple. And an alternative to a gratitude journal could be, now actually that friend of mine that I just mentioned, she's not a fan of writing, but like one of the things that she does and she's taught me is like you can also record yourself. You can record a voice note of like how you're grateful for ABCD. Today I'm grateful that I got to do this, I got to meet this person, or I met a stranger who was so kind to me, or anything. It could literally be anything. but just that simple act, like it looks so simple, but like when I tell you the kind of impact that it has on your brain, on your brain health, on your outlook on life, it's just like miraculous, to say the least. And the other thing that you can also do is you can have a gratitude jar. I actually have one. I have a gratitude jar here. I actually made this, a gratitude jar. So with a gratitude jar, basically what you do is you can just write down the things that you're grateful for, like in a sticky note or in a paper, and then you throw them in the jar. And then after like a week or a month, you just go through them. Sometimes you don't have to do it like at a month or a week or whatever. Sometimes when I'm feeling a bit low, I just go and like open and I read, and it really lifts my spirit for sure. So if you'd want, you can also have like a jar where you put the things that you're grateful for. I've also seen this like even like with, if you have like a partner, there's someone who I gifted and they're doing this with their partner, and it actually also improves like your relationship with the people around you. Like, so they would put the things that they are grateful for together as a unit, and then like at the end of the week or at the end of the month, or even like when things are not feeling okay, they just go through it, and there's something that it just does. There's just something, there's a miraculous thing, like instant heart warmer. I can't explain it, but there's just something. Yeah, so you can also try that. It's something you can try it and see if it works for you. The other tool that I use is, I love walking. So sometimes I go on gratitude walks whereby I'm literally focusing, like my mind is literally focusing on the things that I'm grateful for as I'm walking. I'm not the kind of person who actually walks with like music in their ear. It's just not my preference. I don't like listening to things when I'm walking. I like just listening to myself, so to speak, listening to my mind. So one of the things that I do sometimes is I do gratitude walks where I'm just like taking a short walk and I'm just being grateful for my life, for where I am, grateful for the people in my life. And sometimes, because I really love nature, I'm also being grateful for my surroundings, you know, like the sky or like the fresh air, if I'm walking in a place that has fresh air, because sometimes I'm walking in places that don't have fresh air, but like, yeah, it's really refreshing. And that's a tool that I use, and a tool that you could also explore using. And another tool that I like to use is something that I call the gratitude alarm. So basically with this, you set an alarm basically, and then you can name it Pause and Say Thank You. Mine is named Pause and Say Thank You. So this particular tool, I remember it really came in handy at a time when I was in an environment that I would easily get agitated. Like, there were so many factors that were easily getting on my nerves. And I remember sometimes randomly the alarm would ring and I'd check and it's like, pause and say thank you. And I just ground myself in that particular moment and just focus on something that I can be grateful for in that particular moment. And it would completely shift even my mood, my attitude in that particular space. So definitely would recommend, you can set 1 or 2 alarms in a day that kind of like serve as a reminder for you to just be grateful, to focus on the things that you're grateful for and not the things that are possibly going wrong. Yeah. The other tool that I usually use is mirror gratitude. So I'm someone who loves mirrors. I have like 4 mirrors in my house. And one of the ways that you can do this is just simply by taking time before you leave the house, looking yourself in the mirror and just focusing on things that you can be grateful for about yourself. It could be about your smile, about your body or your outfit. Maybe you're looking kind of cute, you know, just anything. And I've actually seen another tool that Mel Robbins talks about, whereby you high-five yourself in the mirror, and it has some implication because basically you're telling yourself, good job, you're doing great, keep going, you know. You could do something, you could incorporate something like that where you just look at yourself in the mirror and you focus on the things that you're grateful for, even about yourself. Another tool that I use to express gratitude is by writing a message, a text message, or even like a voice note, recording a voice note for a loved one, just saying thank you. It could be a paragraph. If you're like me, you could write a paragraph. Or alternatively, if you're not a paragraph kind of person, you can write even like a one-line message, like to a friend, and just be like, I just want to say thank you for always listening to me without judgment, and for being an accountability partner who is also very kind and gentle. Just anything. It could be literally anything. And I've seen how it makes me feel good. Like after I've done it, I feel, I don't know, there's just something about it that shifts something within me. It makes me realize how lucky I am to have the kind of people that I have in my life. It puts a lot of things into perspective, so to speak. Yeah, so that's another tool that you could use, and it also ends up putting a smile on someone else's face, which is like a win-win. Another tool that you can be able to use is by having something like a friend or family gratitude circle, whereby like anytime you sit down to maybe have a meal or catch up, or even in the middle of catching up, just stop yourself and be like, by the way, what are you guys grateful for? And then everyone can go around saying what they're grateful for on that particular day. I think it really shifts something in you, and especially when you do it also maybe with your loved ones, it also kind of like strengthens your bond. I think it builds connection and it builds presence. Like it helps you to stay grounded in the present of where you are in that particular moment. And another tool that I have actually personally used is that you can actually write a letter to someone, or a note to someone, and you don't even have to send it. Someone who's probably impacted you in one way or another, or maybe there's something really valuable that you got to learn from them or from experiencing them. Yeah, it really goes a long way. It's so healing in some ways, and you can send it to someone if it's someone that you who is in your life. But if it's not someone who maybe has impacted you, but they're not like actively in your life, you can also still just write it, addressing it to them, and just thanking them for the kind of impact that they've had in your life. Yeah, so there's also that. And I'm sure that there are so many other tools that are out there, and I'd really love to hear in the comment section what are some of the tools that you use maybe to create and cultivate that habit of like staying in a place of gratitude, or just cultivating that spiritual practice, because I also feel like it's a spiritual practice where that just helps you to stay grounded in a lot of ways. As I wind up, I think it's important to mention that when you're right in the middle of a difficult situation or a difficult experience, gratitude isn't meant to be like a quick fix. It's not even meant to like try and erase the pain. But from my own personal experience, gratitude actually allows you to carry that pain differently, or to hold it differently, because it reminds you that joy and sorrow can coexist together. Like it's possible for there to be joy and sorrow at the same time. It reminds you that your evolving, healing self is allowed to celebrate the good, even in the presence of the unknown. So today, maybe just start with one thing, just one thing that you're grateful for, one moment of appreciation, and just let that be enough. And then try to build that muscle by being grateful for little things as your week unfolds, and let me know if you feel any different. And I just want to also say that I'm very grateful for you as well for being on this journey with me. I know sometimes social media makes numbers look smaller than they actually are, because even just 10 or 20 people watching this video, can you imagine until you're seated somewhere and you're talking to 10 people or 20 people? That's a big deal. And so I'm really grateful that you've taken the time to actually watch this video, to listen to me yap. And I hope that was not for nothing. I hope there's something that you've been able to take away from this. And so thank you for watching and for sticking around. Let's continue growing together. Let's continue evolving and becoming the best versions of ourselves. See you in the next video. Bye.